Well, I'm here with Doug Cameron on the Positive Different podcast, and Doug is the senior pastor of Highlands, looks after all the churches here, all the church staff, all the development, and has been doing that with me for 14 years. So it's fantastic to have you on, Doug.
Here we go. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Tell us a little bit about your faith journey.
Yeah, easy. I was born into a Christian family that they were relatively new Christians.
Yeah.
And things went quickly for them. Dad got saved and it was a real one. Like it was black to white, dark to light. Friends and family kind of freaked out and was kind of pushed away a little bit because they just didn't know what to do with someone who had changed so rapidly. It wasn't that he was weird or anything, but he had changed and God had got him so well that they were like, there is something that has gripped your life and we don't fully understand it. And so there was some distance and things just kept going quick. After a few years, he picked up the family, moved to a middle of New South Wales when we're from regional Queensland to take a church in a little country town. And over the next, I kind of came along just in the middle of all of this coming to Christ.
Yeah.
And so my earliest memories are moving to New South Wales to take a church, and my family was in ministry and got to see churches planted and lots of cool things, a lot of really awful things, and just humanity within church world and all that sort of stuff unfold over the next 13, 14 years.
Yeah.
In that, but through that, got to see the power of God, got to hear really clear preaching, got to see discipleship in the home pretty effectively, and be on the receiving end of probably a lot of trial and error in ministry and in family and in discipleship. But weaved throughout that was a story of, well, my own coming to God, my own salvation. I can't pinpoint a clear, definitive moment, but I would say that similar to like Matthew, who started following Jesus while he was a sinner or while he was lost, and at some point through his journey, obviously became a follower of Christ, not just physically, but spiritually.
Yeah.
I'd say my story has a similar kind of thing weaved in there, going, go to the events, great, loved it. Could say a lot of the Bible stuff, went to the right kind of school for a little bit.
Yep.
And Dad would always put me in the right kind of situations, the right conferences. He'd drive all over Australia to get me in the right kind of settings.
Yeah.
And they were all great. Probably had emotional moments and spiritual moments in there. But at some point, the faith became less about it's my family's and much more about this is a me thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have I wish I had a big dramatic moment like a lot of other people do. I put my hand up and, I got prayed for, I fell to my knees, I saw a vision. But I would say it was a lot more of a progressive kind of salvation of a faith story. And where I would say a lot of things solidified for me is when there was pain and when there was like church drama that we were kind of the targets of.
Yeah.
And getting to watch that as a child or as a teen at the point and go, do I toss the whole thing away? Do I toss just the church stuff away and try to keep Jesus as just the head and decapitate the body? And so that's where the probably real genuine wrestle of like, is this going to be me or am I going to use this as an excuse to get away from all that hurt, all that confusion, all that pain? And it's probably through there that I've found God spoke louder to me and called me into himself.
Yep.
Anytime I tried to run is where I found he spoke really loud and really clear. So I get the Jonah and the Moses and all those stories of these guys who are trying to just get away from everything. And it was in the runaway that Jesus still met me. So that's probably a kind of a broad summary of coming to Jesus without a drastic moment.
Yep.
And then, once I wrestled that through in my late teens, early 20s, it kind of just kicked on from there.
Yeah. So with all the church drama of a small church in a country town in New South Wales, what was your view of ministry in the church at that time?
My parents did a very good job at keeping me protected from it. Probably at the time I thought I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Unfolded later and dug in a little bit more going, holy moly, I did not know all of those things.
Yeah.
So kids generally don't know anything anyway, right?
Which is good.
But they still are exposed to criticism and pain. I remember I used to check the answering machine when I got home from school, and I remember very clearly listening to certain death threats that
Wow.
was coming and what they were going to do with what kind of instruments and what chainsaws to me, my parents, and a few other things. And so that was a big dramatic one. But then all the little comments and the snide remarks when you're a teenager, and all you see 24/7 is your parents trying to faithfully serve God.
Yeah.
You don't see any of the stuff that they were saying. And so that kind of is confusing.
Yeah.
You're like, where are we getting this from?
Yeah.
So that gets tricky
Yeah.
to do, because I could so clearly see God moving, so clearly have my own convictions at this stage. And then the church acting in a different way.
Yeah.
But using God as a way to act that way. I never fully understood that. I've found people who get hurt, they can use a lot of Christian excuses to be hurt people and throw it back at others, going, well, you as a Christian should. I'm like, well, if we're playing the should game,
Yeah.
I don't know if you should be saying those kinds of things, doing that as a Christian. So that ticks me off. And when we made big moves and moved away from that place, and dad retired from ministry, went full-time caring my mum, who's high needs kind of medical issues. And all of that's what was hidden from me. I knew that she's in a wheelchair and she's degrading, and I can see that. But how drastic that was and how big of an impact that had on our family was probably hidden quite well from me at that stage. But when we moved, that was probably a time where I was like, you know what, God, I'm fine with you. Your people tick me off though.
Yeah.
But you say I've got to love them. So I'm going to try, but it doesn't mean I have to work for you. It doesn't mean I have to work for your church.
Yeah.
I'll serve in it and I'll do what I can. But, let's keep this at a distance. And that was probably my mistake for saying that out loud a number of times. It's like, gotcha. All right, we'll see about that. So yeah, I think it was a big wrestle. I can see why people get hurt and disappointed.
Yeah.
I understand church hurt, and I understand when other people let you down and when the church doesn't behave the way it should, and you take that on yourself.
Yeah.
But it's a revelation of Jesus that holds you close anyway. Like, humanity fails.
Yeah.
Humanity is fragile, and the church is made up of humanity, and we want it all to be divinity. But like, we even look at Jesus as 100% divine, 100% human, and it's his human moments that often I read through and I relate to, but I also struggle with going, I would prefer like a warrior king coming in, but he came in humble, he came in with tears, he came in with blood, he came in with, he got angry and expressed it, divine anger, but through a human kind of mechanism.
Yeah.
And I go, is that justification now? Is that what's going on? So it gets tricky, but loving God, I couldn't ever throw the whole thing away. So I've always just been open and said yes. Yeah. That's what's probably been helpful. It's probably what saved me in a lot of ways.
Yep. So what would you say about that? How would you wrestle through that with people when they say, I've been hurt in church, and therefore they struggle to get connected?
I think I understand. I get it. And it will probably happen if it hasn't.
Yeah.
Because that is part of humanity. I've got family hurt as well. Like, from what family members have said to me, I'm not leaving my family.
Yeah.
I might not talk to them as much, but I'm not going to do that. And so when it comes to church or people in church that have said something upsetting, there might be a season to try somewhere else. But I don't think that we should ever throw God away.
Yeah.
We are faithless. He's faithful.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how faithless we are. He is always faithful to us. And he is calling us. He's placed us in a family. And it's a dysfunctional family in a lot of ways. But it is his family. It's got beauty riddled throughout it as well. The fact that he would call frail people together to make a kingdom impact on this world. And so anytime that I tried to walk away, as I said, I felt God call me back to it, and I'd come back with gritted teeth because I'm not leaving God.
Yeah.
And if he says, this is the family I'm blessing and I've called you into it, well, in I go.
Yeah.
There's always that little bit of me that goes, I don't like what's happening. So how about I just start helping create the culture that I want, that I think is healthy. I'm going to be a part of creating it, and might start with just a couple people, but I found my people within the broader context.
Yeah.
No, Christmas dinner, I don't have to talk to all the family. I've got a little pocket that I go, you're my people.
Yeah.
But I love the rest of them. But, you know, Uncle so-and-so, he can get a bit crazy the longer this night goes on. The same kind of thing. I don't think we just throw God's plan out because a few of them have said the wrong things. And there is genuine pain that comes through. I'm not minimizing it. I just want us to magnify Jesus a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you put our hurt and God's goodness on scales, God's goodness always outweighs it. And this is surrendering. There's probably a time when things happen to a certain degree. Sure, the body of Christ is broad. Go find a different one that you feel like you fit and healthy. Don't be bitter about it. Don't be negative. That's still the bride of Christ that you're leaving. God will sort it out.
Yeah.
But don't walk away from everything just because someone let you down. Join a sports club and you'll find that they'll let you down as well. You probably won't walk away from football. You'll walk away from that club and go find another one to support.
Yeah.
That might be the simplest practical kind of thing. It hurts so much when someone says something or does something genuinely awful. I'm like, that is unacceptable. That is bad. Shouldn't have happened. Did. Welcome to humanity. That was an awful part. But then they walk away from the beauty that is the church, God's plan for them and this world.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to give up on that. As I say, I would just out-obey anyone else. I'll surrender my life. That's what I said. Anyway,
Yeah, it's great.
Jesus, at some point, I surrender myself.
Yep.
You know, Judas and all, nails and all, crown of thorns and all, surrender, die to self, take up the cross.
Yeah, it's good. So, Doug, you have moved from a place of insecurity to security.
Yeah.
What's a little bit about that journey of that, and how did you recognize that, and how did you then apply that from an EI perspective or from your perspective?
Yeah. I think getting over the fact that maybe I'm not someone that God's called, wrestling with that. I'd say the right things, but then in my heart just be like, he's got something else for me. So just probably wrestling with that, going, no, maybe God has appointed me for now.
Yeah.
And even if this isn't the end, he's gracing me for it. And so if he calls me on, fantastic. But here I am now. So I'm just going to stop arguing with him, stop telling him all the reasons why I think he's wrong, and just humbly serve.
Yeah.
Say yes. But now I can look at those things of, rather than I'm not good enough, is going, here are areas that I could get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a bit of a shift of being able to and willing to identify areas. Again, like I go to the gym and I train next to some people and they lift a lot heavier than me. Now, it's not insecure of me to say I could lift more.
Yeah.
That would just be an adequate kind of assessment of myself compared to them. So I go to that person and go, hey, I'm not as strong as you at that. How do I get stronger?
Yeah.
That's not insecure. That's just awareness.
Yeah.
And so I try to bring that into other parts of life as well, going, I just want to get better. Here are things that I don't think I'm great at. And everyone else goes, oh, you're so good at that. And I appreciate all the Christian optimism and compliments. That's great. But I just want to get better. That's all that means. It's not an insecurity. When I talk about going, oh, I love listening to these guys preach. Man, they can preach. I wish I could preach like that. It sounds a bit like I'm bashing myself, but I'm just trying to be aware of going, I love how they can do that. I don't know how to do that. I want to learn how to do that.
And
so
some
that's
of
been
it's
a
their
big shift.
gift, isn't it? Like some of it's they're just naturally gifted at that.
100%.
And we don't have to be someone else.
Don't have to be, but can learn from them.
Absolutely.
For sure. I don't think that it's a way out of improvement by saying they're just naturally good at that or God has blessed them in that. It's like, fantastic. Well, how do I learn some things that God hasn't bestowed upon me from heaven?
Yeah.
I can still go learn from them. Maybe they know why, or they have a process that maybe it is just like, I don't know, I'll just wake up and do it. That's unhelpful, but at least now I know
Yeah, true.
that I might never get that good at that kind of thing. And then I can work on something else. So I think the shift has been like from bashing like I'm not good to I want to grow in these areas. We have to be more self-aware.
Yeah.
What God has put us here on earth, if you're in ministry or anything, right? If you're in his church, if God's appointed you, whatever you're doing, do it at the best of your ability.
Yeah.
What he's calling us to do is far too important for us to not grow in.
Yeah.
Or in general.
Yeah.
He's called us to making an impact in this world, to seeing his kingdom, to heaven, to usher in all these kind of great things. And I don't think he's going to be stoked if we're a lazy church.
Yeah.
Who just like, I'm going to let go and let God. He goes, no, we'll get into it. I'm sending you out.
Yeah.
Go grow, go get better, go equip yourself, go learn. Like David had to figure out how to throw a rock really well before he met Goliath.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he did, right?
Absolutely.
He didn't just sit in the paddock going, well, when the time comes, God will do what he does. It's like, well, yes, he will. And often he does. But also, go throw a rock at the lion and the bear and see what happens. Go figure it out and go get better at it. So I think maybe I got to work on how much I share.
Yeah.
Because I get sick of being told I'm insecure. But I just trying to be an example to people going, it's fine to identify areas of weakness and things that you want to grow in.
And transparency is important, isn't it? Because it brings authenticity.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're very good at faking it.
Oh, yeah. We all are.
Wouldn't it be good just to be more genuine?
Yeah.
Because when they walk out of the meeting or when they get back to their home, the face mask goes off.
Yep.
And they face with reality. So may as well show them, hey, here's what reality can look like, but we're still getting better.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, is that because you're a muso as well. And I think one of the frustrations we've seen over the years is people who turn up musically and just turn up to church and don't get better.
Right.
And that's probably a raw example of Christianity and the life of the church of, oh, yeah, I can play 3 chords and
yeah, I'm good enough to play in church band. Yeah.
What would you say to that?
Practice more, please. Like whatever you're going to do it to glorify God. This is Colossians 3, what Paul was saying, right? Whatever you're going to do, whatever you put your hand to, do it to the glory of God. And so I think being efficient in 4 chords and just throw a capo on your guitar, or I'm good enough to play the 15 songs that are in our church set list or whatever it might be, isn't doing it to God's glory. And listening to the song on the way to the church to learn it isn't doing it in the best that you can to glorify God. And so as a musician, look at that going, we should be good musicians, not just good church musicians.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably in every area of church life, isn't it? Like music, we're up front, same as preaching, you're up front. You need to get better. You need to do a lot of work to do what you do. But it's in every area of church, isn't it?
Every area of church and
coffee.
Every area in a Christian's life. If you're going to be a parent, be a good one. And you might go, oh, like at the moment, there's areas that I'm talking with Becca going, here's where I feel like I'm missing the mark as a dad. Here's what I'm doing to try to get better though.
Yeah.
Because I am a parent, so I want to be a good one.
Yeah.
If you're going to be someone in media, well, don't be just good enough to get the job. Be an excellent one to bring God glory with all that we do.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's crazy. Paul's saying, like, whether you eat or drink, whatever you do it like, how do you glorify God by eating and drinking well? Well, I don't know. But like anything that we do, I think we should just do it well, get better at it. Yeah. The music one's a touchy one for me.
Yeah, well, you're a muso.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I think in church music should be excellent.
Yeah.
The whole Renaissance period, the whole church funding arts, and seeing it excel, funding science, funding exploration of stars and all sorts of things here on earth shows that the church should be at the forefront of creativity and worship and glorifying God. And now we've reverted back to like, we'll just do the 4 or 5 songs, and as long as nothing falls over, we've won today. If we don't self-implode, that's the victory. I don't think that is the victory. We've got to be, how can we excel? How can we point people to him, but also just in our act of worship, which everything in our life is as a believer, at work, at church, at home.
Well, it's one of those things, isn't it? People come into church and say, oh, it's just church, when it's actually impacting the world. Yeah. So we should do it well.
Yeah. Oh, and first, I'll bring it back again. First and foremost, as a believer, your life is to glorify God.
Yeah.
So it's not just church. This is celebration. This is praise. We're worshiping our Father. It's Resurrection Sunday every day for us. And so like, we're going to do it. If we're going to praise him, let's praise well.
Yeah.
If we're going to pray, let's pray good. If we're going to do whatever, do it to the glory of God. And especially in the church world, Christians don't have an excuse out of this.
Yeah.
We should excel at everything. There should not be a reputation where Christians half bake anything. Yeah. We should be good. Everyone should be fighting over employing a Christian.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Should mark us.
Yes.
So you said yes to ministry. How was that
Yeah.
journey?
Oh, uncomfortable and dragging feet in a little way. Again, what underpins probably all of my yeses in life is that, and I still say it in my head today, it's like, God, at some point I said yes. I said yes to him.
Yeah.
And that means laying down my life.
Yeah.
And I meant my yes. And he reminds me of that all the time. Anytime that I go, oh, maybe I didn't mean it, or I don't mean it today, he just kind of like clears his throat and goes, I'm pretty sure you did. I was there. I'm like, okay, all right. I'll say yes again today. I mean it today. So in the ministry, I dabbled a few times because I really got on with the youth pastor when I first moved here. He's great, still a friend. And so he probably won me back over into serving a little bit more in music and in youth, in the school. And through that, got more opportunities to say yes to other things that I didn't like. I hated preaching. And now it's just something I do. It's not a lot, like some preachers love preaching. It's just an effective tool that I've been called to use at the moment.
And you're a very good preacher.
Oh, well, I figured God wasn't saying no anytime soon, so I got to get better. I'm happy if he were to say no, that's fine. Up to him, right?
Yeah.
But no, I just kept saying yes to things, kept getting hurt, kept getting disappointed, went, stuff this, I'm out. And then God kept saying, no, you're not. I'm not done with you. And I'm like, oh, could you be, please?
Yeah.
But just kept being obedient. I phrased when I was younger, I think I just kept out obeying other options.
Yeah.
I don't think I was the best option, but I was the most obedient one. I think other higher level picks and people like, all of David's brothers, better picks. But at the time when they said yes, they'd fail, they'd get angry, they'd leave the church, they'd leave God, they'd do something stupid. I did stupid things, but I just kept going, well, I'll try again.
Yeah.
And kept saying yes. And so that's how that happened. I was pretty confident when he offered me the job that I'd just be temporary until the better option came along. I was pretty confident that I wasn't the best option. But I loved the youth. I loved them. The church was going through some drama at the time. And I was like, I think that I can help those young people in this season, kind of protect them from what maybe adults were saying and doing.
Yeah.
And really see them grow till a time where the church was healthy. And then it's like, great, now the right person's here. There's a good culture. Hand that over. Go off and, again, love God, serve in his church. Don't have to work for him.
Yeah.
Was a bit of a philosophy. Then eventually it kind of got to a point that might be the wrong thinking. And here we are still.
Here we are still.
Somehow. So
which was great.
We'll see.
So discipleship journey is interesting, isn't it? Because Dad did a really good job, took you to a lot of preaching as he planted churches and different things like that, put you into music, got you a guitar and music lessons and all of those things. You've now developed that a lot further with your kids. How have you gone about that process of discipleship for family?
Yeah, I've probably done it a little bit different. Dad did like exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Like just baptism by experience. So he'd take me to prayer meetings. I felt like I planted the churches with him because I was in the car. We did hundreds of thousands of kilometers nearly every year, driving to churches, driving to prayer meetings, driving to Bible studies. And since I was 4, I remember I would drive to Coonabarabran and Warren and Collie and all these little towns around our little town to hear Dad teach to 3 people.
Yeah.
Or 100, or no one would turn up. And so we would just worship with the couple people who drove an hour and a half there, pack up, drive an hour and a half back. And so it was baptism into just the presence of God, serving him willingly.
Yeah.
It's not up to us. And so I got to see an example, which was great. But got to soak in a lot of things, like as a kid, just drawing pictures and coloring in and playing games and sitting in teaching and discussion and prayer for most of my life. I've hated a lot of it.
Yep.
There are still some preachers that he used to listen to in the car that their voice brings motion sickness because I tie the two their preaching and me traveling in the car together so tightly.
Yeah.
That's how much I listen to them. They're a lot more famous than I am, so I'm not going to drop any names, so I'll get smashed. So he did the exposure kind of therapy. I've done less of that and tried to be more, probably more coaching.
Yep.
with my own kids, a lot more questions, a lot more. Like my eldest son is in high school now, going to youth, so he's hearing a lot more things. He's got his own content. I've paid him to do a devotional.
Yeah.
So I said, if you finish this, it's quite a long one. It's quite an in-depth one. If you finish it, don't miss a day. I'll give you this much money. He's like, I'm on, let's go. But that has brought so many questions. It's brought so much conversation. Like I would pay to have conversation with my kid about Jesus every day.
Yeah.
So it's effectively what I've done.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's working.
Yeah.
He's into it. He's got questions. We've got discussion points. And so I'll ask a lot more questions and try to poke around what he's got questions on.
Yeah.
The other kids is just more core foundation and formation.
Yeah.
Of here is what Christian character looks like. Here's an example of where we can use it. And then being reflective on moments where, you know, we might have missed the mark or I've missed the mark, and here's a teaching opportunity once the heat's gone out.
Yep.
Of going, look, this isn't just good behavior. This is something that Jesus is trying to work in us and where he wants to take us to. Not you've missed the mark, but here's the journey that we're going on. God has more for us, and this is what it is. So they're young at the moment, so it's not in-depth Bible study, but trying to be more dialogue.
Yeah.
They're in enough content. Like I'm a preacher. They come to my church. They like sitting in my sermons, and they think that it's mostly boring and sometimes good. But so they get content all the time. So there's enough to talk about and ask questions about. Max is getting to the age where exposure therapy is coming. He will be going to conferences and camps, and he's already done that. Met people who are in the Christian world, big deals, where he just goes, "Oh, I just know that guy as the one we went out to dinner with, and they prayed for me." I'm like, "Mate, you have no idea. It's so good.
It is good.
So I love that."
Yeah, and how, because you saw a lot of the power of God as a kid.
Yeah,
you saw a lot of miracles. You saw a lot of encounters. How's that unfolding in today's world for your kids?
Yeah, it's different settings. Like we're in a pretty nice Christian kind of circle and bubble.
Yeah,
a little bit here with Christian education. I didn't have that, and the world that we're kind of live in, even in Toowoomba, is different to what maybe really tiny country towns are.
Yeah.
Things of witchcraft and spirituality seem to, when it's a smaller population, there's a handful and it's a bigger portion.
Yeah.
And so we would see demons being cast out. We'd see people screeching and squealing. We'd see people coming out for healing it just as desperation because they can't get to doctors.
Yeah.
Or they can't afford doctors, or hospitals aren't within driving distance. And so this was a point, like this was a come to God moment for a lot of people. And so the faith environment was big.
Yeah.
Whether it was in God or some other kind of spirituality. And so we got to see a clash of kingdoms constantly.
Yeah.
There was a higher population of maybe indigenous spirituality as well, where they would mix a few things together.
Yep.
But yeah, predominantly out Western New South Wales, it was high witchcraft. Constantly, we'd have people trying to curse our houses, and fortunately, God would send big angels and reveal themselves to the guys trying to curse us, and to scare the pants off them as they ran down the street. All sorts of sacrifices on our front lawn and in our church, and all those kinds of normal things. But I was constantly reminded that God is victorious, that he has the power. This is just a fear tactic from the enemy, and that we take that authority. So that idea has been strong in me.
Yeah.
When it got to older and my parents weren't around, and start seeing people start growling or changing or picking up people that supernaturally they should not be able to pick up and throwing them across the room, there was this confidence and authority built into me from witnessing and seeing clearly the authority that is in the church.
Yeah.
And when everyone else is panicking, that seems to be where the Spirit of God has taken over and said, "Hey, like I'm here, I'm in you. You've got this confidence and this authority." And as a 17, 18-year-old, I'd walk in just a little bit different and walk out of that place kind of like, why are the rest of you so soft? Like, what's going on? Do you not know? But so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that was, again, a kind of a baptism into a culture where it was the kingdom of darkness and the kingdom of light were so evident. And the moment you sprinkle a bit of light in there, things would just go wild.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was fun.
Yeah.
It's formative.
formative, so important, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
I think in the Christian world, we can miss that, especially in the world we live in, a very comfortable bubble.
Yeah. Oh, we've got every other option than God.
Mm.
So when God is one of our 20 options,
Yeah.
we might try him, but half-heartedly, and we might get to him if the other ones don't work. But the example that I've seen is when there is no real other option, when especially when it comes to the spiritual realm,
Yeah.
man, it is just a collision of kingdoms. And fortunately, in Christ, we know which one's victorious,
Yeah.
which one has the greater power. The other one's powerful, but nothing on Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good. So talking a little bit about leadership. So you came into leading the youth here at early 20s, and you've now developed all the way through to be the senior pastor of the church in multiple churches. What's some of your keys of leadership you've learnt over that time, and particularly from a young leader to now a mature leader? How have you worked through that? What's some of those things you'd say, oh, that's a key thing I've learnt that really would help others?
I think big one is that set me up well, and it can be a negative thing, is being aware of shortcomings.
Yeah.
And that motivated me to get better at things. I was pretty aware, and whether driven primarily by insecurity at the start, it was, I'm not good enough for this. Oh my goodness, this is growing faster than I can handle. I'm no good at that. And comparing to other people, like, look how they preach and I suck. And whatever it was, the motivating factor at the time definitely pushed me into going, if I'm going to do this, I've got to get better.
Yeah.
I have to grow. Like churches, like every Christian, every young person who's come through church has all the ideas and opinions on how to do it.
Yeah.
And then you've got to do it. And it's like, it can be confronting. Like, and even if it works, I never looked at it and went, see, all my ideas are right. I'd look at it and go, I can't pinpoint what happened there. So I want to be able to, was that God sovereignly, or was that something that we implemented and God blessed it? All those kinds of things. So I had to grow. And that was a big thing for me. And I think a lot of people these days want the fruit without the seed.
Yep.
They're not willing to sow it, and they're not willing to invest in themselves. They want the growth externally, but growing ourselves is the biggest investment into seeing anything that we're leading. I've seen it all over and over again with young guys that we've discipled, and seen that those who invest in themselves and want to grow personally, even in their business, the business thrives.
Yeah.
If you want a healthier family, you've got to be a healthier dad.
Yeah.
Or healthier marriage, healthier household. You've got to be willing to invest in your own growth to see growth outwardly. And with same principles spiritually, right? If you want to see a spiritual blessing, it is the investment. I need to be with Jesus.
Yeah.
I want to abide in him. If I want fruitfulness, there's only one way in the kingdom of God, and it is abiding in Christ. There's no shortcut to spiritual growth, to God's favor, to his blessing. We've got to be willing to do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So there is no kingdom without surrendering to the king. We don't get a crown without a cross.
Yep.
We don't get fruit without sowing the seed.
Yep.
It's a classic like sow and reap principle, but in all these areas. And leadership, that's been the primary one.
Yeah.
For me, now it's on the flip side. It's probably moved from less negative drive to more of a positive. I would call it more self-awareness.
Yeah.
Other people would still call it insecurity, but I don't think that we need to, as confident leaders or sure of leaders, shy away from areas that we think we're weak in. Talk about it. The problem is I talk about it and people think I'm insecure. I'm just like, no, I'm just sharing what I think that I can grow in and what I'm not as good as other people in. So I'm going to learn from them.
And that's a shift, isn't it, from a real understanding of, hey, that was insecurity. Now I've moved to security. I'm still happy to be vulnerable to learn.
Yeah, for sure. I just, in our stream of Christianity, it's kind of like if you share weakness, you're faithless. I just like Paul did it all the time, right? Like, I'm the chief of sinners. I've got a thorn in my side. I've got issues here, and people get ticked off at me and leave my mission trip here. He kind of talked a lot about this kind of stuff. So I don't think that self-awareness or vulnerability is necessarily weakness. If it comes from a place of insecurity, sure. But if it's a way of identifying, here's something that I could overcome. I want to get better at this. I'm talking to a few different people external from our organization just to go, help me with this kind of thing. Here's a mindset that I've got. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how to overcome it. help me pray through it, help me identify it, and then I can use it as a strength.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
So those are big ones. Other big one I think is for seeing growth is the idea of accountability.
Yeah.
Of the idea of someone else keeping you accountable, I think, is a myth. It's a lie, and young people love it. Can you keep me accountable? We only ever keep ourselves accountable to someone else.
Yes.
Because the moment you lie, accountability is shot.
Yep.
No one can keep me accountable unless there is something that is objectively trackable.
Yeah.
So like fitness, someone else can keep me accountable. And how often I read, well, not even how often I read the Bible, right? Because I can just quickly open the app and then I've got a streak going. But to keep ourselves accountable to other people for our attitudes and our growth and what we're trying to achieve and the end goals that we've got in our mind, all those kinds of things. We've got to keep ourselves accountable to other people. And if we're not willing to do that, you're not willing to grow in a healthy manner.
That's great. How many, rather, we've seen a lot of people grow over this season of church.
Yeah.
And you've developed a lot of leaders. What would be some of those keys you're putting into those leaders? Because you've learned a lot through your journey. How are you putting that into other leaders?
I think primarily when it comes to leadership development, it's all discipleship. If we throw the word leader aside for a second, in my setting at church, it's all discipleship. And so to develop leaders, I'm thinking, how would I develop a healthy disciple? Somehow we've separated the two. Leadership, we do more content and training, and discipleship, we do more relationship and time. And so I just learned I want healthy disciples who are really good leaders. So I tend to spend more time than necessary than most people would think is necessary. An investment, I'm a big believer in compounding interest in finance, but also within relationship, seeing effective growth in that manner. So I'm willing to put in time with people and continually put in time over a long period of time. In the short term, it's probably not as effective as just get everyone in a room, G them up, teach them all the same things, send them out and hope it's stuck.
Yeah.
But I've found the compounding play of a long play of discipleship, journeying with people in leadership over years, it hands down beats a rah-rah fest and content, which is fine, but just not my strength. The one-on-one, the warm body kind of experience, that's where people call in the middle of the night and say, oh, you won't believe what just happened. I'm in trouble. And there I am, the ones that move away from Toowoomba and call me because they're struggling with the sin that they can't confess to their church at the moment because they haven't got that long time relationship.
Yeah.
So I try to model it a lot more of this is what it looks like to walk with people because I think that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
If we think his disciples were effective leaders, well, let's probably look at how he developed them, which was far more relational than our course-focused development plans, which have a place. Yeah. It's a part of it. It's a mark along the way of the journey, but it's never the destination.
Yeah.
And so I try to model it a lot more, what faithfulness looks like, what resilience looks like. I share a lot of my own things, my vulnerabilities. Here's some life story. Because when the pain's coming for everybody, so I want them help them know what it looks like to go through it, what success, how to go through that, and how we relate to God in all those things as well. So that's how I do leadership. I'm a much better leader across a coffee table than I am from a platform, and that's where I feel more comfortable as well. If I could have more people over at my house for dinner, I think that I'd be way more effective. And so that's one of the strategies that I have personally to make an impact in people's lives and how I did a lot more when I was younger and kids weren't.
Yeah. You guys always had people around.
Yeah, for sure.
It's an interesting journey as we develop people, isn't it? And how we go about that. Because you can learn principles from a classroom or a leadership meeting, but you can't learn practice. And how do we develop that practice, I think, is key.
Yeah.
It really is key. So you've picked up a lot of leaders over the years who some people have written off. How would you help other people identify leaders?
Yeah, I think I've always been drawn to maybe quirky or the outsider a little bit. I probably related to it a fair bit. I've got a heap of stories there. So I don't know whether God's given me a grace to see something in people there. It's the ones that are like hyper confident
Yeah.
that I always look at and just have a little check in my spirit. And maybe again, that's an old insecurity rearing up. But like, I don't let that determine whether I believe in them or not. But I definitely have those who don't believe in themselves, something in me that says, no, they've got it in them. This is our job to get it out of them.
Yeah.
And to help them see what God is seeing in them. So I have a soft spot for those who've written themselves off, who other people have written off. I think it's just a fun redemption story. I believe in resurrection power. I believe in what Jesus did. It turns people's stories around.
Yeah.
And I've seen it countless times here at Highlands and in my own homes. And so
Yeah.
I love those kind of things. I think a big key in that, if you've got people who look like a write-off, is being able to have that, what we would call here, that I see in you conversation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be scripted with that at the start of it, but being willing to genuinely find something in them and be prophetic in nature. I used to call it prophetic encouragement. It's like, I can't quite see you being good at this yet, but I want to encourage you because I think that there's something in there.
Yeah.
And if I water it, if I keep sowing, if I keep nurturing it, I reckon it will come out.
Yeah.
I wasn't lying, because I genuinely saw something in them. And the moment they even got close to maybe even doing it, I would jump on that and encourage the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I go, man, you're so good at that. I also think that people are accidentally good at stuff. And I always say that to people, like, you were just good at these things. Imagine if we helped you. Imagine if we just got you the right kind of training or the right kind of exposure. Let's go. How can I help? And that's our job as leaders, is to get the best out of people. And most of the time, it's not me going to sow into them. It's about me getting them the right kinds of things at the right time.
Yep.
Here's a setting. Here's an opportunity for you to serve. Here's people for you to meet. Here's a book. Here's a whatever. And me willing to walk that journey with them the whole time.
Yeah.
So a lot of those kind of people probably can point to different points of their journey, and there I am next to them.
Yeah.
But I'm not the hero of any of their story. I just was trying to coach and
Making
help.
heroes.
Yeah, try to help get them along to just set them off in their journey. A lot of them exceed me and move on anyway. That's great. That's the hope.
Yeah, that's right. It's great. We've seen leaders developed, and now they're developing other leaders. How do you see that flow through in multiplication?
Oh, that's the goal. The ultimate goal here as a church, I think, is for all churches, right, is to make disciples. And the only way that you ever become a disciple isn't just having a relationship with Jesus and loving other people. It is making disciples as well. That multiplication is obedience. It is Christianity.
Yeah.
And so Dave Ferguson writes about it, says you haven't fully made a disciple unless that person has also made a disciple.
Yeah.
So the concept of multiplication in leadership, I would say, is the same as well. We're not judged off how good of a team we develop. We should be judged based off our team's development capabilities.
Yeah.
And so that is the long-term goal. My view is obviously framed entirely through the lens of Jesus and his mission here on earth. That's why it's still in a church and not in somewhere else. That's all I believe in. And so I think that should be the goal of having a legacy that lasts beyond just the generation of impact we have. You can go, look at what I have done. But I think the better way of seeing it would be look at what those who I've helped have done.
Yeah.
Seeing a larger kingdom impact. Being in Toowoomba probably taught me how to do that better in youth ministry, because everyone would graduate and move to the coast.
Yeah.
And so I either had to be salty at it or see it as an impact and celebrate the wins that they were having there. No, that was when I was younger, but it helped. And so I think that's got to be a goal of ours. Now in the church, I think in business areas, the whole saying of like, what if we invest in them and they leave? The idea of like, well, what if you don't invest in them and they stay?
Yeah, that's right.
So you may as well invest, and when they leave, set them up for success. You know, the world is big enough to have multiple successes.
Absolutely.
Big enough to see the kingdom expand in different ways. So, I think just sowing into people, but keeping their eyes up.
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing that I think I've got to sow in constantly. I'm always doing, and I think I've always done, is it's not even about you. Trying to get it into people that they can make a difference for others, that they can produce greater people, greater things. God can do something awesome, not just through them, but through the people that they're impacting as well. Start to see in others what has been seen in you.
It's great.
So I think that's important.
Yeah. So we've seen the church here grow fairly rapidly over the years, and we've had a lot of people come look for the keys to success per se.
Yep.
And most people come and want an instant success. What would you say to people who are developing a church or developing a business around success and how it comes and what you've learned over the years in that?
Yeah, right. I generally tell people don't come here.
Yeah.
You don't want to learn what we've got to say.
Yeah.
You want to go somewhere else and they'll tell you 5 simple keys.
Yeah.
But we tell you something that takes a lot more work, a lot more faithfulness and a lot more conviction than here's the silver bullet to seeing growth and success. But if they persist through that, then we can get honest, right?
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of like grit and determination, very clear conviction on as a church what we feel God has called us to.
Yeah.
And the end goal, what the vision of it is. I think either if you don't have a clear destination where you want to be working to, having a very clear direction.
Yeah.
This is where we feel called to walk this path and we're not budging from it. And even if we do, we're going to come back, being willing to make the adjustments to come back under the direction that I feel led to go in.
Yep.
I think other things that we take very seriously is like the multiplication of relationship of things.
Yeah.
That there is no real diva amongst us. That no one wants the stage. No one wants the glory. That is God's in our house. And in this, he gets it. And we all play our part. So I think in that, the way that we've done it as a church is a lot more equipping the saints for a lot of work of the ministry rather than trying to hog it to ourselves.
Yeah.
That is a hard battle that is fought constantly, is equipping people, not just to get out of work and get them to help you be successful, but God has gifted, he's called each one of them for the purpose of building the kingdom. It's our job as leaders to unlock it, to give them an avenue, to launch them off. And ultimately, serving in the church isn't the end goal for anybody's spiritual gifts, but it is a part of everybody's journey.
Yeah.
It is. You can't get out of it because you've matured past serving. We all serve, but like standing at the door isn't the pinnacle of anyone's ministry calling on their life. And so trying to intertwine all of these kinds of things can make it seem difficult. I've had friends that would think that we are very free range in the way that we do leadership development and discipleship. But I would just say we are highly intentional with our relationships.
Yeah.
And we include the Holy Spirit in all of it. It's his church. So those are probably some just philosophical stances that we have.
Yeah.
So what that looks like practically for us is people who are listening wanting to think, well, how do I grow? What's the leadership kind of principles and keys that we've got is I think that you need to have a really clear philosophical stance.
Yep.
This is how I think church should look. This is how I think business should be done. I have these values. I have this vision. I think it should be outworked in this way. Philosophically, I am clear. And then it's about trying to marry the methodology up to that as well. A lot of people nod in the room going philosophically, yes, I agree, and then go out and just do what we are used to, do what we're comfortable with.
Yep.
But it's about marrying those two things up of going, I have a clear vision, I have clear conviction, and I'm going to behave in the same manner as that.
Yeah.
I'll make adjustments along the way if God kind of bends. But we're pretty clear of what he said to us. And so we're not going to bend unless it's real clear.
Yeah, that's great.
Again, that'd be one of the big things.
Yeah.
People kind of come here with, schizophrenic philosophical ideologies, right?
Yep.
They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're trying to achieve. They don't know how to outwork it. And so they just plug and play whatever looks good, whatever sounds pragmatic at the time. And it can be confusing. You get like multiple personalities within the church and same within a business.
Yep.
You just try to copy paste from 6 other people. You become chaos.
Yeah.
So I think fighting for clarity, fighting for this is who we are, your DNA, and being willing to stick with that in a methodology that is effective.
It's really interesting because many people probably come and they know how to do church, but they don't really understand how a church works. How have we unpacked that and how have you unpacked that over the last It's over a decade.
Ages now. Everyone that's been in church for a long time knows the elements,
Mm.
right? Depending on what church you've been to, they've got slightly different elements, but a lot of the elements are the same. And so we keep just trying to improve elements that feel mandatory. So we have to have church on Sunday, and generally there's songs. However many songs there are, that's one thing that we can tweak. If I learn from someone pragmatically, this one does 5 songs, their church grew. This other one only does 3 songs, and we get caught up on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than understanding to begin with, why are we singing songs? What kinds of songs are we going to be singing?
Yeah.
This one does 3 fast and 1 slow. It's like, well, that's not actually the thing that's helpful. It's, again, having that philosophical understanding of what worship is. What are we trying to achieve as we sing as a church and congregation? And so I'm trying to go deeper on those things to lay a foundation and then build off that. What do we accomplish when we gather? Preaching a good sermon, fantastic, great idea. How to preach better, cool. But what are we actually trying to accomplish when we preach?
Yeah.
What is the goal? How do we know that we've won? Is it hands raised at the end? Well, we can all be vague enough at the end of our preach to get more hands in the air. But what is the clarity? What is God calling us to do?
Yeah.
And the same with small groups. Most places just have small groups because that's what you're supposed to do. It keeps them connected, and that's fine. But there's so much more that can be seen within them to have a deeper understanding of how this multiplies, how this equips the church, why this is a model that we find biblically, not just church activity, but philosophically, this is something that sees disciples made, families and cities start to change around, nations start to bend to the will of God. I think there's so much in it that we can just go further and have a greater understanding of how church works, how the soul of people develop and work as well.
Yep.
So we're not just trying to manipulate them. This is actually good for you. This is what God wants for his church. But yeah, in the church world, I think so many pastors are just caught up in church activity that we've missed the very core of why we've done any of those activities to begin with, which is to make disciples.
Yeah.
And that is like church is not a destination. It is a marker along the way.
Yeah.
They cannot skip it. It is something I think is compulsory for all believers. But getting into a service isn't the end goal for God's church. That's not the vision he has going, man, I just hope all these auditoriums are packed. That's great. I hope we get packed churches, but packed churches in order to change nations, to see the world affected for his kingdom, to usher in something brand new from heaven when they even walk into the church, bring heaven, walk out of the church, take heaven. Like there's bigger things at play than successful church activities.
Yeah. And we're challenged by that, aren't we, really? Because it's so easy to get busy.
Yeah.
How do you pull people back? What's some of your strategies of realignment of people?
Guilt or something. I don't know. I don't know. Just people who joined our team at the core believe in this stuff as well.
The philosophy.
On board. Yes.
Yeah.
I find its failure and success are both equally difficult to deal with because both of them make us revert back to what we know, what we're comfortable, what we feel safe with, and both of them make us overly pragmatic. And now I'm all about effective things are great. We want to see more people in, but I don't want to be pragmatic without being spiritually founded in anything. Just like we do this, why? Well, it works. No, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah.
Is this healthy? Is this what God wants? Slower growth, I'd be much happier with if it meant long-term fruit, like everlasting fruit rather than a short-term thing. So it is a big wrestle how to do that. So I just keep it at the forefront of all of our team's minds.
Yeah.
Because they all said yes. This is a compelling vision. I think it's compelling.
Absolutely.
When we onboard people, they're like, absolutely. And why would we ever do anything different? That's exactly what we want to do. We get a bit of success and we go, I think it was these 3 things that we implemented. And then we can easily sway to just being overly pragmatic. Church activity, while things are going well, why don't we also get them to do this? Why don't we also include these things? And they might be great, but then we can bend into just activity-based leadership.
Yeah.
Without assessing whether is this going to be really healthy. I'm all good with putting new markers in people's journey, but when they become like this is a great just for activity's sake, Simplicity might be actually more fruitful in the long term, and it might be more everlasting. But failure does the same thing as well. When things aren't working, well, we just start scrambling for whatever will work. And that's fine. If things aren't working, change, make adaptations, but don't start giving up on our core conviction. And so that's a big part of what my role is to keep what is core to who we are, core to how we work and outwork those things.
That's great.
Keeping the concept of discipleship, long-term everlasting fruit, not just attendance-based ministry, but equipping the church to do the ministry 7 days a week, as well as help the church as we gather, and see a multiplication of genuine disciples of Jesus.
Yeah. So longevity in leadership, how have you gone about developing friendships in leadership? Because many people say leadership is lonely, and to a degree it can be. But I know you've worked really hard at developing a good network of friends.
Okay.
How have you gone about that and the importance of that? How do you see that as important, and how do you see that? How do you develop that? Because I know a lot of pastors and leaders out there, they just don't have any friends.
Yeah.
Which I think then can minimize their effectiveness and length of leadership.
Yep.
How have you gone about that?
Yeah. I think it's tricky. I get why it can be lonely. It's because your whole community, all of a sudden, if you've now got to lead them, like the dynamics shift. If you were peers and now all of a sudden you're technically in charge, there is a different dynamic that goes on. And so it can be easy to isolate ourselves and going, they don't understand, or I can't be that kind of friend to them. And there's probably truth in some of that sort of stuff. And so trying to develop friends outside of that setting. Fortunately, I've got a few friends who they keep saying they don't see me as their pastor, just as their friend, and yet they keep coming to me for pastoral things.
Yeah.
So I just keep rolling my eyes, but they're good friends. I would call them bury the body kind of friends.
Yeah.
Like, call them, they don't ask questions.
Yeah.
They're there for you, and I'd be there for them in whatever they go through as well. So that's helpful. But I've constantly been aware that in ministry it's tough. And it's good to have people in the same industry to talk to. And so even though I'm not naturally the big extrovert and just social kind of bunny, I've always tried to at least start friendships.
Yeah.
And I could give dozens of examples of trying and a few stick.
Yeah.
But I just kept telling myself, don't give up on this. This is worth pursuing. This is worth fighting for. They might think you're coming across desperate. It doesn't matter, because there's coming a day where I will be desperate and I want someone to answer the phone.
Yeah.
I won't know what to do. I feel alone. I'll feel beaten up. I need those brothers in arms to stand with. And so it's just been that constant relentless going, don't give up on this, Doug. I know it's hard. I know it would be easy to go alone. I could naturally gravitate to isolation personally, but I won't allow myself, because I know that's where the enemy will get me. That's where marriage stuff will start breaking down. It's where family issues will creep in. And so I just keep fighting for this kind of thing. Even starting different kinds of small groups in the church with people on certain topics. Going, hey, just a group of dads at the moment I'm meeting with. And most of our conversation is about our spiritual growth and our role as dads in our family and areas that we're struggling. I'm not going to share everything with them. They're not going to share everything with me, though. This is an important part of developing friendship. So there's a few people that I think I've done a bit of a journey with and who would answer the phone when called.
Yeah, that's great.
But I've just been relentless in making myself do it. It's like trying to talk up your shy child to go make a friend. I've got to do that to myself all the time.
It's been a good journey, but hasn't it?
Yeah, there's that ups and downs in that one. You know, win a few, lose a few.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, mate, thank you. Thanks for sharing. It's really good just to see what's happening in the life of our church and our community. And, it's probably bigger than a church. It's a school and early learning centres and developments now of new buildings and everything that you're involved with. So appreciate your journey and all the things we've been able to achieve.
No worries.
Thanks, mate.